Hi, I'm Darren and welcome to New Factory Classics. Today we're going to discuss Ice Sculpture Christmas. It is a Hallmark movie that's available on Peacock. Now when they were children, Callie here always wanted to be a chef, specifically a chef that focused on ice sculpting. That's why most people actually go to chef school. They don't even want to learn how to cook. And David, like his father, always wanted to be a king of Wall Street. And now we flash forward 18 years and she's achieved her dream of becoming a chef that does ice sculpting. Actually, she's become a dishwasher at the club that their parents worked at when she was a kid, but she's hoping to work her way up to becoming a chef and being able to do ice sculpting. The restaurant is going to be super busy over the holidays with parties, holiday events, lots of customers, and they even do several ice sculpting events that all lead up to the big event, the ice sculpture contest at the right before Christmas. Now, Callie is a dishwasher, but they will use her periodically to run the ice sculpting events and teach different people how to actually cut ice and make different figurines out of it. Now, Callie bumps into an adult David who has become a Wall Street king just like his father. He's very rich, he's very good looking, he belongs to the club. She thinks whenever he's talking to her, he's just being charming, just trying to get whatever he wants, and he has no real interest in her. Unfortunately, when she bumps into him, she knocks his phone into a fountain, and so worried about what had just happened, she grabs his phone and puts it into a bag of rice and gives it back to him. When he looks at her, he realizes that's Callie, the girl that he fell in love with as a kid. So he's going to do anything he can to make her fall in love with him. Now, David himself has a big deal that's going on in December that he needs to get done before Christmas. And if he does, it'll be the biggest deal that his company has ever accomplished. But unfortunately, he can't focus on that because there's Callie, the girl that he had always been in love with since he was a kid. Now, David finds out about the big ice sculpting contest at the end of the month, and he tries to get her to sign up for it. But Callie doesn't want to rock the boat. She just started her job as a dishwasher. She wants to work her way up all the way to becoming a real chef. So she has to start out at the bottom. So she doesn't want to rock the boat because Gloria, the head chef, has won the past 3 years in the ice sculpting contest, and she doesn't want to make the head chef mad at her. So she'd rather not even participate, despite being an incredible ice sculpturist herself because she had done it her whole life. So what David does to get Callie to like him, even though she said not to do it, he secretly signs her up to join the contest to go against Gloria. So the next morning, when she didn't know that, when she shows up to work, everyone's glaring at her and yelling at her. It's the best way to get her to both get everyone to like her at her new job and definitely to get her to fall in love with him was to go behind her back and do something she specifically asked him not to do. Unfortunately, Gloria is afraid to be embarrassed if she had asked Callie to quit because this is the 25th anniversary of the ice sculpting contest with a $10,000 prize. And she doesn't want to make it look like she forced her new employee to quit because she was too scared. So she actually decides to force Callie to stay in the contest because she just would rather beat Callie straight out and show that she is the best. Now, it turns out that there's actually a lot of similarities between this and the Goblet of Fire book and movie from the Harry Potter series, which honestly does not bode well for Gloria if you made it to the end of those. So Callie forces David to be her partner because the ice sculpting contest is groups of two. And he would love to do it, not that he needs the $10,000 because it's not said constantly, but it is definitely implied that he's a multimillionaire and he doesn't need money. But she needs $10,000 to pay off her student loans for where she went to be a chef, specifically to sculpt ice, something that she could have done her whole life for free because that was constantly going on at her house. But she wanted to get her chefing certificate first, so then she could really become a professional ice sculpting chef. So now we cue the montage where he's going to assist her and try and learn how to make ice sculptures. Everything they try, he breaks her tools, not on purpose. He's just trying to fall in love with her, and this is everything he can do. And frankly, he's not very good. So most of the time she just takes over and puts him on the side, but he helps little bits where he can, gets her coffee, grabs tools for her, tries to help, and ends up breaking stuff. During this time, Callie reveals to David that her mom and dad's dream before her mom passed away was to start a charity where they would bring vegetables and cooking food for poor people in their local area. But then her mom died, so now it's her dad's focus. Unfortunately, her dad cannot retire and focus on his charity because his daughter is a 35-year-old dishwasher who wants to eventually become a pro ice sculpturist with student loans. He needs to have a real job. There is a vibe between Gloria, her boss, and her dad. Whenever they meet, they just both look at each other longingly. And since they are both single and over the age of 50 in these movies, we know that eventually they will fall in love. They even make a bet, him saying that Callie's going to win the contest, her saying that she's going to win the contest. The winner will cook the other one dinner. Basically, they both just admit that once this is done, they want to start dating. Now, Callie tells David off eventually because he's constantly just flirting with her, trying to be charming and not actually helping. Though she rarely lets him help, she is still mad that he's not taking this super serious ice sculpting contest for her to prove that she's way more than just a dishwasher. But she keeps failing, and eventually she says she needs to take him back and just focus on training him. He promises if she'll take him back, he'll be super serious. So focused that he won't even work on his multi-million-dollar deal that will make him set for life. They could just focus on his business. She wouldn't even need to do dishwashing or being a chef or do anything other than sculpting ice if she would just date him normally. But they would rather go through this really roundabout way of getting things accomplished. David eventually decides to help Callie's dad behind her back and get the charity off the ground. Between that and reading his book on the history of ice sculpting that he does about halfway through the movie, he has no time to focus on the multi-million-dollar deal that could possibly ruin his family's business. David is constantly skipping work, including a day that he skips so he can go with her to a neighboring town and go to an amateur ice sculpting event that takes place during the week. And there are troves of people that went to go see this during the week in early December. Not sure what is going on in Washington State where they can just do that, but there are a lot of people. 8 groups of contestants participate in this. Callie and David do their best to make a gingerbread man, and it's eventually coming out really good. In fact, right when it's done, they have the best sculpture. And when it is done, they high-five each other and break the sculpture in half. So they end up only getting participation trophies. But the main thing is that they learned to work as a team, and she's starting to fall in love with him too. So he finally asks her out, and she accepts. When he gets back to town, David's dad yells at him for not focusing on the business. They have to turn in that business report by the end of the week, and all he is doing is sculpting ice. Millions of dollars are on the line, and he is not working on that. He is sculpting ice with the local dishwashing girl instead of just getting this project done by the end of the week. He tells his dad and his friends he really would just rather focus on investing in happy, good companies that will help people in the neighborhood. If only he knew somebody who was trying to get a charity off the ground. There's a night of a big party at the place where Callie works. David is in attendance, so is his dad, so is her dad who runs the place, and she sees that there's no one cooking on one of the stations, so she abandons her dishwashing job and just leaves all the dishes that need to be cleaned for the party and just focuses on cutting vegetables and prepping things, which Gloria turns out to enjoy because she needed more people cooking, but it really could have gotten her fired because nobody was doing her job and the dishes just piled up. This absolutely infuriates Gloria's assistant, who turns out to be the villain of the movie. The sous chef hates Gloria because she can see that Gloria is naturally talented and just wants to get rid of anyone that's in her way. Gloria and Callie stay late after the party and have to do all the dishes that Callie hadn't done while her job was supposed to be happening. They end up bonding, which is actually really good for Callie because Gloria and her father will be married within the year. That's just the law in these movies. Callie and David finally get their ice sculptures to bond. The problem with their ice sculptures is they could never fuse pieces together. So if they wanted to put a nose on a snowman, for example, it would just fall off and break. So finally, they figured out how to get them together, which is great because it's really brought him and her together. They finally lean in and kiss. It's led up to these last 5 weeks of sculpting ice. His plan to get her to fall in love with him has worked. David reveals to his dad that now that he's finished that business project, which basically his assistant did the whole time, he does give her credit because he did literally no work. He was sculpting ice with the local dishwashing girl instead of solving the business problems that could make them or lose them millions of dollars. He tells his dad he wants out of the family business to promote his assistant, and he wants to focus on a life of ice sculpting, charities, and just straight out, he means it, his new girlfriend. Callie, though, unfortunately sees him hugging his assistant, who was a lady, and just assumes that this was all a ruse to get her, basically to lie to her, and that he was using her. He had another girlfriend the whole time and didn't actually like her. This is weird because he had spent the last 5 weeks with her at every single moment, skipping work, but she saw him hug one person and freaks out, and so runs away and never wants to speak to him again. He begs her to listen to him, but she won't do it, so he shows up to the ice sculpting event all by himself, just prepared to lose. Despite it just being him there, Gloria's assistant, who still wants to get Callie fired, hides their ice to where it won't become the room temperature and tempered correctly. So just to really make sure that they fail when it's just a Wall Street guy trying to cut a chunk of ice all by himself. Callie comes to the ice sculpting event and decides that she's going to hear him out. And she ends up running into his assistant, who reveals that they never had anything together. She goes and talks to him and reveals to David that she's so sorry. She loves him, and she's sorry for going crazy the night before, but just had seen him hug that other girl and kiss her on the cheek and thought that she was being used. He says, "Don't worry about it. Let's focus on the contest." And as soon as the contest starts, they start sawing away, and their Santa cracks in half because their ice had not been tempered. They end up freaking out, and they just prepare to lose. While Gloria's assistant starts laughing, Gloria realizes that she was the evil person the whole time and ends up firing the assistant. She walks over to Callie and promotes her on the spot from dishwasher to sous chef. Having seen her only wash dishes and chop vegetables, she is now second in command of the whole restaurant, having never shown any of her cooking skills. But she's been there the whole time. She's got a big smile, and frankly, Gloria wants to marry Callie's dad, so she better promote this girl. They start looking at their Santa, and they realize that they had learned how to finally bond the pieces. So they take the broken pieces off the ground and end up making wings, and they change the big Santa head to an angel. So in the end, they were able to submit an angel with giant wings attached to it, and everyone's clapping and cheering. David looks at Callie and reveals that he loves her. Callie looks at him and reveals that she loves him, and they decide they don't even want to see who won. They grab each other's hands and walk out. The winner of the ice sculpting contest is never revealed. You can see Gloria embracing Callie's dad, and they are going to get together. Callie gets her millionaire boyfriend. She becomes the sous chef. She gets everything she wants, and this becomes truly an ice sculpture Christmas. Now I have seen it, so you don't have to. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.